So I have said before that 3 is Once Upon a Time's magic number, and this week 3 more stories dropped. I've compiled them together in this one video, and we're going to discuss them all right now. And this video has a theme, which is Princess and the Frog, focusing on the princess. Now, the first story is a little Princess and the Frog light, but Tiana is still mentioned, so it counts as the theme. So the first story is we have all of the cursed names of the new characters. Lady Tremaine is Victoria Belfray, Drizella is Ivy, Cinderella is Jacinda, Tiana is Sabini, and Alice is Tilly. I like Alice's name because it's Tilly, rhymes with silly. Alice in Wonderland's a relatively silly story. The character of Alice is also silly herself, but in the trailer, at least as far as I can tell, Rose Reynolds looks really serious, so I think it's kind of like an oxymoron type name because it does rhyme with silly. So I like Alice's name. Honestly, Tiana's name I don't have any comment on. I think it's just a name. And I kind of feel the same way about Jacinda and the same way with Ivy. Though I did make a joke because one of you did tweet me that, who is Ivy, because we couldn't figure it out. And then I did a little research and I realized it was Adelaide Keene. But I made a comment saying, Once Upon a Time is casting Poison Ivy. I thought that would be hilarious if Disney bought DC Comics. And I kind of wish Disney would buy DC because Warner Brothers is just screwing up the characters so badly. TV's good, movies not so much. But the main part of the first story I really want to talk about is Lady Tremaine as Victoria Belfray. And the reason why I find this interesting is I'm shocked she didn't keep her last name. Now, Lady Tremaine in any version of Cinderella doesn't have a first name, but I really had thought she would have kept it because if she's behind casting the curse at all, wouldn't she want to maintain a little bit of her background? And I just think it's really interesting that she decided to go with a brand new name. Mr. Gold, his name is Mr. Gold. We don't know his first name, so I would think she would go as Madame Tremaine in Hyperion Heights. I find it really interesting that she went as Victoria, but Victoria is the name of one of the queens of England, the longest reigning queen of England. So it does have, historical significance behind it, power behind it for sure. It's a really powerful name. So I also get why she wants it, because Lady Tremaine is a character that craves power. So it makes a lot of sense in that regard. But I'm really curious as to why she wouldn't bother to keep her name at all. So that's the first story. Those are the names: Victoria Belfray, Ivy, Jacinda, Sabini, and Tilly. Jacinda essentially rhymes with Cinderella. So I'm curious if Cinderella's good heart was able to somehow at least give her the A at the end of her name. What do you guys think about these names? Last thing about the names real quick. When Regina cast her curse, she kept her name as Regina, but David, was David. The only character whose name that I really could interpret as being significant was Mary Margaret, because those were, the names of 2 aliases that Snow White used when she was running around. Other than that, I don't really see names as being super, super significant in their cursed form. So that's why I'm not super excited about these names. I would honestly be more excited if one of these stories focused on one of the new male actors that were cast, because I want to know what their roles are, because they're very secretive at the moment. So the next story is Robin Gibbons is cast to play Tiana's mother, Eudora. Now, I think that's fantastic that we have Eudora coming to Once Upon a Time. Will James be coming to Once Upon a Time? And that means they'll have to cast a younger Tiana as well. And the only thing I think is odd about this particular story is Robin Gibbons, is 52, and Mekia Cox is 35. There's only a 17-year gap between the two of them, and Rose Gibbons looks really good for her age. And I think it's really funny that just the age gap, because am I going to think they're mother and daughter, or am I going to think they're sisters? Now, I know that there are siblings who are 20 years apart, but there's also, parents who have their kids very young. So either way, it can work. I just figured that Once Upon a Time would work as hard as they could to get Oprah, because Oprah voiced Eudora in Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog was a lot of firsts for Disney, also a lot of laughs, because it was the last animated 2D film that they did. But Oprah was Eudora, and Oprah has a great relationship with the Disney company. She was even on a special for Desperate Housewives to help promote it. So I would think Oprah would want to promote the hell out of Princess and the Frog in real life. I think that would have been a fantastic idea. And because someone at Disney knows Oprah, more or less, I would imagine. This is Hollywood. I feel like everyone must know everyone at some point. Because if they could get John Lasseter to let them do Frozen, John Lasseter, who also worked on Princess and the Frog, has some connection to Oprah's people. But Oprah's probably so busy and she doesn't probably want to act. But I can't imagine Eudora's in a ton of episodes. I think she's only in greenbacks at the moment. But I would just think Oprah would have been the smart choice because Oprah would have promoted the hell out of this show. And also Oprah's 63, so the age gap's a little, wider, so it would have made more sense for mother-daughter. But anyway, that is the second story. And speaking of promotion, or Prince and the Frog, because I'm going to get into promotion because that's a part B of the third story, Mekia Cox has been promoted to a series regular. And I think it's really interesting that she's already been promoted, excuse me, to a series regular without any reaction to the audience. Now, it makes sense that they want to have essentially 2 Disney princesses as series regulars, but I just find it odd that she was promoted without anyone's reaction, because I don't think Belle was promoted to series regular until season 2. I don't, excuse me, particularly remember when she got her casting upgrade from guest starring to starring. But, essentially Tiana will be the Belle and Cinderella will be Snow White. So you'll have like a modern princess and a classic princess as your main leads. It's very parallel to that. But if I was Once Upon a Time, another character that I would give major consideration for, being a lead is Adelaide Keene. Because I looked at Diana Ramirez's Twitter and Instagram, I looked at Mekia Cox's Instagram, and I looked at Adelaide Keene's. Adelaide Keene has 1.1 million followers. Diana Ramirez has 250,000, and Myka has about 11,000. So Adelaide Keene brings a lot. And that's why I would really consider making Drizella have a reformation arc and make her a good character, and then make her a series lead, and like maybe have Cinderella and Jacinda, or that's Cinderella, have Cinderella and Drizella kind of be like best friends who are sisters, and maybe have Tiana, Cinderella, and Drizella. But that's a lot of us in one, especially if you throw Regina in there to make it a group of 4. But I think those could be an interesting foursome. I mean, we haven't seen any of it yet, and we don't know where they're going with Adelaide Keene. But I would just think, marketing-wise, you want someone with a lot of followers on your show, because they will seriously help promote it, and they bring in their fan base. But anyways, I'm really happy for Mekia Cox. Once Upon a Time this season has been very diverse. You have a lot more Black actors on the show, which is great. You have actors of Latin American descent on the show, which is awesome. So it's great. I love the fact the show is really diversing its cast, because it was relatively American. So anyway, I'm really curious what you guys have to say about the curse names, about getting Eudora on the show. I think it's fantastic we're getting more Princess and the Frog. I'm really, really hoping that one of the 2 actors that we talked about before is Naveen, because I'm really curious to see the story of Greenbacks be truly fleshed out. And what do you think about Mekia Cox being a series regular without having seen her? I think it's fantastic for Myka. Once Upon a Time is a great starting point to really get a popular career. It worked for Georgina Hagg. It worked for Elizabeth Lail because they're doing a lot of projects. It worked even better for Jennifer Morrison, but she already had a really good career on House and whatnot. And I believe she was also on How I Met Your Mother. But point being is, Once Upon a Time working for the Disney company, especially being a princess, it's great. It's what you really want to do, because if you can be a Disney princess, you can then go on to be kind of anything else you want, because you don't get, it's not like a typecasting. Though I do feel that Lana Priya might have been typecasted as the evil queen for too long. I think season 7, if I was Lana, might be her last season, because I think she's Oscar material, and I would want her to get to the silver screen as quickly as she can. So those are my thoughts. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk real soon about Once Upon a Time. I hope you all have a fantastic Labor Day. Make sure to follow me on Snap, because I have a couple fun things happening this Labor Day as well, and I will be snapping them all up. So anyway, thank you for watching, and we'll talk real soon. All right, guys.